but they ate it.
I know. Well, that's why when they bring it home.
Oh, yeah.
They finish their snack when they finish it when they get home. Like, oh, there we are.
Welcome back to What She Said on Canada Talks, Sirius XM 167.
And welcome back to What She Said. Christine Bentley and Kate Wheeler and Lee and Meg are here. Welcome to the Hood, Motherhood. And these women are jumping up and down with excitement because, as the commercial goes, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Back to school. Now, one of the things about back to school I managed to avoid, because I thought I was very, very smart, I sent my kids to a Montessori school, which provided lunch.
Good for you.
Yeah.
One big war aborted.
Exactly. So what are your tips on school lunches?
Well, I have obviously 3 girls, and 2 of them are together with what they like, and then I have sort of an odd man out. I used to try and always ask what they wanted, and that I got tired of doing because invariably I get a myriad of options, and I don't want this, I don't like that, I want peanut butter, I mean, that's not an option. So now I am rolling it out like Monday is bagel with cream cheese, Tuesday is pizza at the school, Wednesday will be like avocado with chips, Thursday will be leftovers, and Friday will be maybe like a sandwich with that really bad lunch meat you're not supposed to give them. I'll do that. That's...
And?
I kind of follow Lee's path with lunch as well, but I must say, we complained about making school lunches a lot, but I think it's a better option than the summer where I'm feeding them like 15 times a day. It's breakfast, then it's snack, then it's lunch, then it's snack, then it's dinner. So I kind of look forward to the back to school lunches. I'm pretty, I go green, which means I totally do everything unpackaged. So then it's just a matter of what they want. Usually has to be a veggie, it has to be a fruit, a treat, and then like a bigger sort of item. I usually follow that sort of pattern, and it works.
I know, but what happens when it's brought home or you find out they've been throwing it out? So on the one hand, you don't want to give them another choice. You don't want to create another battleground, open up another thing that they can. But on the other hand, you don't want to be throwing out food.
Absolutely. I was just telling you this, Christine, at the break that our brother was at our house one day when the kids were coming home with their lunches, and they unpacked their lunch, and whatever they have left, I usually say, okay, eat that, and then you can have your after-school snack. And my brother turned to me, he's like, they don't know they can throw that out yet? And I was like, no, and don't tell them, because 1, I don't want them wasting food, and 2, I don't want to feel like, oh no, now I have to, like, they're going to realize they can chuck everything and kind of get the lunch they want. Luckily, schools are crazy diligent about not letting kids trade. You can't trade anymore, so my son will see someone with a bear paw, and he's like, oh, he can't trade anything for it. But I think as now my kids are getting older, I think that discussion is going to open up a bit more to kind of, okay, what do you want in your lunch? And usually I'll say, like in the morning I'll say, okay, well, do you want, this pita or that? And they'll let me know which one they want. Or do you want like cucumbers or carrots? And they'll pick. But
So that's a key, giving them a choice. So it's like cucumbers or carrots. So then they have to pick one. Not saying, do you want cucumbers? It'll be no. Do you want carrots? It'll be no.
Right.
You give them that choice.
And we definitely go on repeat, like Christine was saying, like the 6 weeks haul. We'll do that. I'll be like, I will be giving them the same thing for so long. They'll be like, Mom. Like my son turns to me and is like, I don't like apples anymore. And I'm like, yes, you like apples. But it's like every lunch was like an apple and a cheese string. And he was like, I'm dying here.
No, but it wasn't me. It was them. They got on these
food jags.
runs of
They're called
food
jags,
jags,
right,
and
yeah.
it was like
Was that
really
what
Hawaiian patties or whatever, Jamaican
Yeah.
meat patties. We're doing this again every day. A meat patty again, and then they would never touch it again and move on to something else. And so by the end of a couple of years of school, there was nothing they would eat. They'd been through every jag.
They're scarred.
Yeah.
I like it when they get on something like cheese strings or like a certain yogurt. So I'll start to load up at Costco, and then it's at precisely that moment that they'll look at me and say, "This is disgusting.
I don't like this anymore."
So what do I do with like 18,000 packs of Mini-Go yogurts? Like, how do I unload these on people? I'm at the bus stop being like, "Do you guys need some? Does anyone want these?" But then they'll make you feel crazy because, like 6 weeks later, I really want cheese strings. I really want that yogurt, and you're like, "Am I insane? Like, you said you didn't like me."
And don't you love I'm hungry. Well, go grab some. There's nothing to eat. And you look in the fridge, and it's packed. Nothing to eat. Not a thing.
So what age do you think you should start letting them make their own lunches?
My 7-year-old daughter at home now makes her own lunches. And I will let her in the fall, if she starts to have trouble with my lunches, I'm happy to let her make her own lunch.
that's really young. And Malone is that kind of child who is into that kind of stuff. I would say realistically, the average age, I think, is probably over 10 or like 11-ish when they start to be more confident in the kitchen, and then you might get out of them more than just like a bag of chips and a granola bar. But I think that's what's going to happen is when my son starts making his own lunches, I'm going to have to let go of the nutritional aspect of the lunch and let him fly with it.
That's not necessarily true, because my youngest daughter, Sophie, is, she's very into food, very into health, and she would make more health, nutritious, conscious lunches than I would have given her from the age of 10.
Interesting.
She'd say, I'll have the school lunch, but I'm taking snacks, because the snacks aren't healthy enough. So she would take carrots and celery and hummus and baby cherry tomatoes as her snack, because the snacks there were potato chips.
Yes,
so
but
at
Kate,
the school there's enough choice.
But she's a perfect child.
No,
The rest of us
you've met
don't-
her. She's not perfect.
She is absolutely perfect.
She's just like her mother. She's
Yes, she's
perfect.
perfect.
God.
Let's move on quickly before we run out of time onto, now you know that the first week of school, it'll be signing them up for after-school activities. So then there'll be the 6 in the morning on Saturday morning and the whatever, and the guilt of what, do you let them do 9 things where you're running the whole week? And then you have the child that doesn't want to do anything at all?
I think I run a rather conservative ship. My kids are still very young, I think, for a lot of extracurricular. We are going to ski as a family this year, which may mean taking them out of school for a day, which I call learning by living. And then we're going to do skating 1 night a week. And that'll be it. And if my 7-year-old wants to do an additional night of skating, I would consider that at Christmas time. If she's like, I want to do more, I would let her. My 5-year-old and almost 4-year-old, no. I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, language lessons, guitar, and swim.
Do you find more
We're
people are backing away from the constant extracurriculars?
I would say if we polled the people that we know and hang around with, I would say no, that they're very much into it. And I think it definitely has a place. I mean, it is, when you are sitting around with a child that is bored, I mean, it's nice when you have those nights that you know you have things going on, keep them going. But I think Lee and I, because we grew up, I would say we're almost old-fashioned in a way where we really like being at home, having dinner as a family. So too many nights where that's not an option gets us feeling a bit off our rockers. So I have boys in hockey now, and my daughter is starting more activities this fall. So there's going to be a number of nights where we are not at home, where things feel hairy. So I limit it because I just can't take it. And then if I feel crazy, then I make my kids feel crazy, and then everything is just, it's no good. So I do feel a bit guilty, Christine, because this summer in particular, we basically didn't do anything, and I know my kids really wanted to. So I felt kind of selfish this summer, but I think you definitely need to strike a balance. You need to go, if my son, like my middle son, who isn't as interested in necessarily a lot of extracurricular activities, he has to. Pick a few things, you have to do it. My older son, who would probably do everything in the world, you can maybe pick 2 or 3, and then we're capping it off at that. Because I think you have to look at your family as a whole and decide what's going to make you guys function, feel happy, feel healthy, feel content. Mm-hmm. So I go with that.
I get it. For me, guilt trumped everything. So I was at the hockey arena at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So, but you started this being really happy that you were going to be alone and your kids you were bouncing in here, and now you're talking about guilt. What happened?
I know. I think Megan, it's obviously different because her 2 boys in particular, I think, are incredibly high-strung. But
nice of you to say.
Yeah. No, they're a game changer. I'll have, my 3 girls and even some little friends over. I'll have 5, 6 kids in my house. No problems. Those 2 show up, and things that have been unbroken in my home for years get smashed, trashed. I don't know how it got on the ceiling. We didn't know that was the attic in your room. We didn't know that was under your bed.
You're going to have a fight with me because Kate has girl children. I have boy children. They are different. It's not conditioning. They are built different. If it doesn't make noise and smash against the wall and have a siren, it's no fun. Though that's boys. Little girls like to sit with their Barbies and a book.
we talk about this all the time because Lee will say, "Oh my gosh, there's so," and I'm like, there is tons of energy, and I run them. I get them outside. You gotta run, just run, and they're like, "Why are you making us run? Just run." But then on the other hand, you'll be with Lee's kids, and you'll be in the car. Let's say, where when I'm in the car with my kids, it can be like you could drop a pin and hear it. Everyone's just chilling out, sitting there. You're in the car with Lee's kids, and it's like 21 questions. It never stops. You're on. You're constantly talking and chatting, and you get feeling a bit kind of hairy because of it. It's just a total difference. And plus, I tell Lee all the time, when my boys are like 13 and 14 and they're just doing their thing, Lee's going to be in the thick of it then. Like, it's going to get a lot more difficult for her when the girls are older. That's what I say.
To be like really clear, I call extracurricular activities for girls as like slut avoidance. You build up their esteem. I was in lots of sports when I was a kid. Meg and I both were, and I'm like, I need them to do something so that they don't just want to give it up to every little boy. I'm serious. I think that's a huge thing. I think extracurricular activities build esteem.
So being a slut is an extracurricular.
No, I don't want it to be one.
I think that goes for both. There's lots of things that you could be doing when you're hanging out behind the school bike shed doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So maybe a little organized activity. Keep an eye on them. Anyway, we have to take a break. Lee and Meg talking about motherhood issues and slut avoidance. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. We'll talk to you again.
It's all anyone says to me. 3 girls. Oh, 3 girls. I'm like, I know.
I can't believe you said that.
I know.
I can't believe you said